Al Bundy 758. I stole over $20,000 in a very creative way in the 90s. No regrets. I worked at a fast food chain in the 90s when I was in high school. When I worked there they were in the process of phasing out denominational gift certificates. $5, $10 and $25, the way it worked was if you spent more than half of the certificate they gave you the cash back. So if you ordered $5.50 worth of food and gave them one of the $10 gift cards, they gave you the $4.50 back in cash. My manager was in charge of destroying all the existing certificates as we transitioned to the more traditional credit card-looking gift cards. So my manager said he shredded the certificates like he was supposed to, but one night when I was closing I found 2 boxes of the gift cards tucked deep in the dry storage room. They were filled with the certificates that were supposed to be shredded. So, I scooped them up, brought them out to the dumpster in trash bags and threw them away. After we closed, I came back and recovered the back, and brought the certificates home. I counted them. There were $1,025, $1,010, and $505 certificates. None of them had expiration dates. Total haul was $40,000 in fast food certificates. My manager never said a word, he couldn't. He had reported them destroyed weeks earlier. Over the next 3 years my girlfriend and I toured every location in our state, and the next 4 states ordering food, and getting the change. We never kept track on a spreadsheet or anything, but we got good at knowing what menu items were just about half. After the first year, we started saving the change in a shoebox, and let it build up. I bought my first car for $7,800 cash from the change. And for some reason a kitty cone was $1.05, if you gave them a $5 cert they gave you $3.95 back. We threw away a lot of kitty cones. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Here are the answers to some of the FAQs. We could hit 10 to 12 stores in a day if we drove around for 5 to 6 hours. Both of us would use a gift cert. It was not that labor intensive. The only cameras in the store were at the cash registers and takeout window. The manager has no clue who took them, or at least never treated me differently. Each gift certificate had a generic PLU on them. EI. All the $25 were PLU number 756. When we stopped selling the certificates we were told to keep honoring them because they were prepaid. They were not coupons. One can only eat so many ice cream cones. And now for the reactions, smiley face. Solstice cleaner. I worked at a stupidly named chain music store in the mall back in the early 2000s and my manager got busted doing this very same thing after she got promoted to district manager. We were phasing out our gift coins in favor of gift cards at the point and she ganked a bunch of the coins. Her flaw. She only ran this scam on stores within the district she managed, where the staff knew her and got a little suspicious. Yet Similarly, a friend and I bought a roll of Subway, Sub Club coupons from eBay in the early 2000s. I ate Subway for free for around 2 years until they cancelled the program, smiley face. Nick_Jones. If you think that's bad, try getting apple pies consistently. I live less than 1.5 miles from 4 different McDonald's and I've been trying to get one for a week. It's not a machine issue either, it's just blatant laziness. Sin for Jesus. Having worked at McDonald's for 2 years I can confirm that both your lack of ice cream and apple pies is bullshit. The manager doesn't want to have to record a high amount of food waste so they don't make any apple pies, and they don't want high drive-through times so they just tell you the ice cream machine is down. Marcuzas 33. I just did some quick math, but to get $7,800 in change, say from $25 certs. Wouldn't you need to visit a restaurant about 680 times, say if you spent just over half of $25, seems a bit time-consuming? Napping 1. Well, he said his girlfriend was also doing it, so I guess they could do 2 per store. So that's 340 trips, which seems more reasonable over 3 years. Also, gas was dirt cheap back then, so if they really wanted to they could cover a lot of ground over a weekend and still have it be worth it. Samshin. Man, I hope to one day be able to look at a chance at making hundreds of dollars in a day and say, man, that seems way too time-consuming. If I could go by every McDonald's in my city today to make $300, I'd be out the door right now. That's food for my family for weeks. Deleted user. 6 Y ago. My fast food scam was coupons. Worked at a pizza place as a delivery driver and they were very relaxed about the coupons. So when a customer gave me a BOGO large coupon, I'd hang on to it until I got an order for 2 large pizzas without a coupon. When I got back, I'd hand the receipt and coupon to my manager and tell them they gave it to me when I got there, so I only charged them for 1 pizza. She would adjust the bill and I'd pocket $15. 5 or 6 of those a night, working 5 nights a week for 3 years, $58K. Coming up waters. I call BS. To get the $7.8 thousand using the highest increment, $12, would take 650 trips. That's every other day for 3 years. Even if you could go that often, it's amazingly obvious what's happening when the same person comes in with the same discontinued coupons that earn a cash credit. No manager is gonna let that happen. Edit, OP's response seems reasonable. But changes it from a quick easy scheme, to one that pays out $20 an hour at most, ignoring gas. Whiskey on a Sunday 93. There's probably 7 McDonald's in my town within a 45-minute drive. Make the rounds one day, 3 days later send your GF, 3 days later go again yourself. That's basically hitting 1 restaurant once a week per person and getting 14 total McDonald's trips done. Seems perfectly feasible for a few months at least. Luck in any. They probably have hundreds, if not thousands, of customers a day, and if you've ever worked at a place like this, you know that all the faces start to blend together and, besides, people working minimum wage don't really care, they just want their paycheck. Probably use the drive though as well, making them even less memorable. Heckle puff. The other thing I'm not following is that Ops said they only cashed out gift certificates that had less than $5 remaining on them. So, all the certificates he found in the boxes should have only had less than $5 left on them, right? There would not have been any $25/$10 gift certificates like he said, or did I read it incorrectly and misunderstood it? Zelexipa. I did something similar, but not to that extent. At my old fast food job, we used to have an option to discount orders for senior citizens or provide a manual discount of up to 15 to 20%. I only did this when I needed some small pocket cash. I'd find someone who had an order of about $20 or so and was paying cash. Ring up their total. If I saw them paying cash, I'd hit the discount on the screen, and keep notes of how much the register would be over. I mostly only took like $5 to $10 at a time and not every day. Op has got some balls for doing that though, hats off to you, haha. Falcon 4287. It's a theft of opportunity, and pulled off creatively. Still theft, though. Can't say I haven't done similar, but I don't look back on those things and try to morally justify them. I was upset at my managers and took it out on the business as a way to stick it to the man. I felt like I was smarter than my bosses and wanted to prove it to myself. Turns out that who was smarter was not important, but that I was willing to do things more underhanded than they were. And that's not a competition I felt good about winning in the end. However, acknowledging that I have a mind geared towards that type of thinking has helped me significantly in the field of cybersecurity. Now I can catch people like that. And I get to prove that I'm both more underhanded and smarter than those people. Hatico_CR. That's a very unethical way to bend the rules to your benefit. Gladly you did that on the 90s. Should someone try to do something like Thay today, he could be easily identified using surveillance cameras, especially as an employee of the same company. Chadwick 619. It's a little strange to me that nobody has a problem with someone telling us all that he stole a bunch of money. It's corporate money. Okay, cool. I mean, I know a lot of people think stealing from people or entities is somehow different or less morally reprehensible if said people or entities have lots of money, or things. I get it. Maybe the manager was going to do it anyway. Yeah, okay, maybe. Still stealing. It happened a long time ago, nobody got hurt, who cares? I genuinely mean that. Still, I am nonetheless a little surprised at all the positivity being rained upon someone telling a story about how they once stole more money than a lot of people will ever have at once. Schmalz__Flegion. My girlfriend's dad had this dream of running grocery store. It required that the employees could be trusted. He went BK because one checker worked a failing in the books. It ruined her family's life. Good job OP, you are a certified grifter. 3N07S. Company I work for has these paper certificates as well. Can redeem them for food but no cash value, so you can't actually get money back. But you get free food by using them to pay for your food. Anything left over just doesn't get used up and the certificate should be shredded by the manager. 0000000. I'm drunk. But coming from a former GM of a poorly run, food-serving franchise. None of this makes sense. He keeps mixing up the terms cards and certificates, which would be rung up very differently. Certificates are treated as cash, and turned in with daily business reports. Gift cards are treated as limited credit cards. They can't just be used again, they have to be recharged from Ring UPS via card or cash. When they're out, they're out. I've worked with plenty of people that thought they were sly sneaking less than $10,000 off poorly ran, high-traffic businesses. Seen more than not arrested, none walking away with more than $4,000, and that was over the course of 6 years. Asserting you took and spent $40,000 like it was nothing is ludicrous. Deleted user. It seems odd to me that the store didn't have any way of verifying the gift certificates were being destroyed. I mean, this probably happened in other towns. They must have been able to see that way more certificates were being used than had ever been made. Maybe that was why they stopped them in the first place. My manager never said a word, he couldn't. He had reported them destroyed weeks earlier. Still. You are lucky you didn't get robbed at gunpoint. If the manager suspected you had the vouchers, you may be missing a few teeth. For example, stealing drug money from someone doesn't mean, oh well, they can't ring the cops, they'll get away with it. It's more likely it means you will get a knife to your throat and beaten within an inch of your life. Laszlo Rave. My second day as management, someone paid for a new set of rims and tires with $5 gift cards, cost was something like $1,050, est. Apparently his work was supposed to have $1,000 gift card giveaway for my store, but they misunderstood and bought $205 gift cards. System could only do 10 gift cards per transaction. I swiped 200 gift cards that day across 21 separate transactions, which had to make sense on paper, and the back office work for 21 transactions, 21st being the remaining balance owed, was more of a nightmare making the system understand. Log work for transactions was a nightmare because the system needed to charge to reduce balance of the gift card via a charge, and I used labor charge and manually entered $50, 10 cards equals $50. This triggered the technician's labor commission every transaction, which gave him an invalid payout and didn't give the original sales representative sales commission, which was something like 0.036 of every dollar if I remember. Sales rep should have made over $36 for that single sale, but the system gave an error on manual overrides for sales commission, so that needed to be fixed. It was just a nightmare of red tape. I still get triggered by gift cards. My second day as management and I wanted to shoot myself. Mech 8. Something similar happened in a supermarket I worked in, except it was an envelope full of credit card receipts with card number, expiry date etc., and it was very well hidden under our waste compactor. I brought them to the office, but on second thought, I should have burned them myself. The scam effort probably originated in the office. Super snaz. I knew of a guy who stole working in a bottle-o liquor store. Beer came in 6 packs or a slab of 24. A slab of 24 cost about as much as 3 6-packs. He would buy a slab from his own money and leave it, then pocket the cash from the next 4 6-pack sales. Repeat throughout the shift. Every 4 6-pack sales earned him the price of a 6-pack. Inventory and cash register always balanced perfectly. Last exit 25. I worked at McDonald's in high school, and in my town after 3 p.m. all the adults went home and only high school students worked for the rest of the night. The manager system worked like this: if you were a senior in high school then you were a manager, and once they graduated the next person in line was up. It was a total shit show and one of the best ways to ease my way into the work world. When the Monopoly game came around, we used to order tons of extra sleeves of hash brown holders which came with the 2 pull-off pieces. I used to take boxes of them home. There is like 200 per box, and my friends and I would peel for hours and set aside the free food and the instant money winners. I cashed in all the money winners at other stores, and my friends never paid for food for a long while. Al Bundy 758. Op. Holy crap, this blew up. Here are the answers to some of the FAQs. We could hit 10 to 12 stores in a day if we drove around for 5 to 6 hours. Both of us would use a gift cert. It was not that labor-intensive. The only cameras in the store were at the cash registers and takeout window. The manager has no clue who took them, or at least never treated me differently. Each gift certificate had a generic PLU on them. EI. All the $25 were PLU number 756. When we stopped selling the certificates, we were told to keep honoring them because they were prepaid. They were not coupons. One can only eat so many ice cream cones. Kberk 106. My brother was quitting his job at Walgreens and the manager was throwing away massive full-length cartridges for their big printers. He told my brother to throw them out, so instead he just took them home. He looked them up and overall they're worth about $2,000. Mistakes like this are the best, haha. Eau de Mandre. A friend of mine's older brother found an offer in a mailer that was good for $25 gift certificate at a chain restaurant that would return the unused value in cash. He'd have a drink at the bar and use one, then leave a nice tip, have a seat at a table, eat an app and use another. He went to all the local apartment places and opened the stacks of mailers or looked through the recycling in the mail room for residents and collected hundreds of these to redeem. Absolute spaz. I did something pretty similar. I stole a book of 10-pound vouchers from somewhere in the early 90s. One of the shops you could redeem them was called Superdrug. I went in the first time and bought a chomp bar. They cost 10p at the time, thinking I'd just get the 9 pounds and 90 pence back in change, but the girl behind the counter pulled out a book of 1-pound vouchers and gave me 9 of those and 90p. The next few days was spent just rinsing and repeating the scam. Eventually they caught on and I got banned. Still made a good few quid though, for a youngster. Isometal. How much did you have to spend in gas driving to other states in order to do this though? Fried_thol In the 90s has was most likely under $1. So it wouldn't have been that bad to fill the tank. Also, depending on where in the country he lives, he could be close to a bunch of states. From where I am in Pennsylvania right now, it's 8 miles to New Jersey, 47 to Delaware, 55 miles to New York, and 59 to Maryland. All reachable in an hour with a heavy foot. If I was willing to drive for 3 hours, I can add Virginia, West Virginia, Connecticut, and just fall shy of Rhode Island. Otter, 99. A similar thing happened in a restaurant I worked at. We had $5 off coupon cards, and when somebody turned one in, we placed them in a little basket thing, and at the end of the night the manager took them. I think they were reused again and given out to others customers, like if you complained about a meal of something you'd get a $5 off next visit. Anyways, one employee was either stealing them or keeping them and started using them on random customers after they paid, but keeping the tip amount the same. So if my meal was $20 and they tipped $4, he would use a $5 off coupon and enter that their total closeout amount was still $24, but he would get $9 as a tip. I guess he went a little overboard and management finally noticed his tip out amounts weren't making sense. Long story short, he was fired and they threatened to sue because I believe he ended up stealing a couple $1,000s, but I don't think they ever did. Storm Sam. Employees at bingo halls here in the UK are robbing them blind on a daily basis, as they must be one of the only industries left that operate free, untraceable, printed vouchers with a cash value. I caught one guy stealing thousands on one of my first shifts as a manager. They actually printed the story with my name and address in the local paper, but after a while I realized that they treated employees so badly that I was going to leave in a hurry, so I just turned a blind eye. Can't say I didn't redeem a few vouchers myself. If you want some free money, go in and grab a fistful of voucher booklets, cash in, they may give you digital credit, load it all into a machine and then just cash out, simple. Snarky Top. $37,500 in certificates, not quite $40,000. There is also a slight chance that the certificates were forgotten about, or maybe a former manager had stored the certificates in the dry storage location and the new manager did not know about them. HDRE. You'd have to have a good concentration of stores in one area to earn back the expenses of driving round doing it these days. Especially when you split this between 2 and staying away from home. If you're keeping around $3 from each store, you'd have to visit a few to make it worth more than just going to work in the first place. Wedge 1378. Can confirm. The 90s was a shit show of fraud for all teenagers. I had my own racket. I assumed that because before computers, paper records could easily be faked or basic math errors were made. Records took days or weeks to be processed. Probably throughout all of history this shit was going on if you were observant. Fence_post. Reminds me of my first job working at a golf course/clubhouse. I would drive a cart on the course that sold soda, water, juice. Beer was not allowed to be sold on the course, so golfers would have to come to the clubhouse to get their drinks then take it with them, public course. They charged $1 for everything. So you can imagine tips didn't come easy because everyone had $1, nobody needed change, I was a male, I didn't have beer, and golfers were in a hurry. One day I decided to up the cost to $1.25. This would guarantee me 0.25 on each drink sold. This also led to a lot of golfers just saying, keep the change. So I was pulling $1 per almost every drink I sold. I was asked a lot if I had beer. Always said no. Couldn't do it. They kept the sodas/juice/water in the same cooler as the beer. When stocking the cart one day I grabbed a 6-pack and stuffed it in the bottom of my cooler. First set of guys who asked for beer that seemed cool, I said I'm not supposed to, but I have a 6-pack I could sell. They asked how much, and in my young mind I figured $10 for all 6 would be great. They had no issues doing that, and looking back I could have probably said $20. That was straight profit since it wasn't inventoried on my cart. Best job ever. I was 15 at the time. Some of the most memorable days of my life those summers. Stu 8319. This reminds me of my friend who worked as a cashier at a burger joint here in town. He had some way of voiding transactions and keeping the change. I don't remember exactly how he did it, but one day his manager gave him a huge stack of paper that was a list of all of his voids for the month. He stopped doing it then, and his manager just kind of let it slide. Ghosto frog. It is not immoral in our society to steal from those who oppress us, and to be clear, fast food chains obliterating small business, health of the population, and the way they advertise is absolutely a form of oppression. Remember, big money is for itself, not the economy or the customer or their employees. Although TBH it sounds like a lot of work and I wouldn't bother, I'd just keep the coupons and eat indefinitely. Or give them away to some less fortunate people. Or just to people outside the store. Although I suppose every 4 or 5 coupons, I'd have enough for cigarettes, so. Artie_Chokeshire. I got a whole lot of, this is great, smiles from your conquest of the multi-billion, soon to disappear fast food machine. I think you didn't even dent the machine. In fact, it is likely possible that the reason they were being discontinued is due to one very real fact: the actual change to the customer far outweighed the actual bottom line cost they paid for the actual product. Secondly, the abundance of these used in the past began the process, however slowly it became a concern for CPA or CFO on the P&L ledger. With the mentality of business and the bottom line being keep it in the black, keep it in the black. That's why they pulled these certificates or gift cards. Greedmongers got to always have more, and when they don't get more than what they want, they take steps to get what they need. I don't have one bit of sympathy at all for any of them, and I congratulate you on a very, very slick adventure at the cost of your manager's stupidity for inventory in the warehouse. Unless of course he stashed them there for his own game, which is entirely a possibility. Karma is usually funny when it shows up. Congratulations. You got my kudos, and have a great life, man. Thanks for sharing, one hell of a fun ride.